It's interesting. We've used the example in the podcast already that, for example, you aspire to be at the top of your tree in your chosen sport, which happens to be football, and you knew what was the right pathway to take, yet you still wanted to keep dabbling in the things that were holding you back. And that's totally understandable
Yeah.
for everybody out there. Yeah, I might do this, but I'll still do the other things as well. And that's your decision. But we're just trying to get the listener out there to understand that there are better ways. And just because one person who does very well in their chosen sport does it this way, it's not necessarily, they may not have achieved the highest level they could be. If they did something like we're talking about, they could actually be better. And that's kind of the message we're trying to get across, I think.
That's a really good point, Jerry, because we can do that. We can look and idolize an athlete at the top of the tree, and then we can say, okay, whatever they're doing must be working. So I need to apply that to myself. So if you think about golf, Tiger Woods, top of his game when he was at the top of his game, right? But he started to gym train and he started to get tighter, stiffer, and then he gets back surgery. Right. So that's one example.
Great
It
example.
doesn't mean he's not going to. It doesn't mean he's not going to come back and still be a great player, but it doesn't mean that his training program was what allowed him to be the best in the world. There's so many other factors, and just pure grit is certainly one factor with Tiger. And yeah, exactly. The second, I guess, pair of athletes that I look at is Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. So both been number one in the world, both almost won as many Grand Slams as each other, but they've both done it at a very different cost to their body. If you look at how Roger Federer moves versus how Rafael Nadal moves, Rafa's much more grit, he's much more muscle, he's much heavier, and then Roger Federer is much more fluid and flowy. So I not only just think about that from a performance point of view, but I also think about a longevity point of view. I know that, yes, there's some triathletes that are elite triathletes, so triathlons are their life. But I also know that some triathletes are dads, their grandfathers. So they also want to be able to squat down and play with their kids or their grandkids. They want to move well. They don't want to be restricted and limited by their body. And this is what this movement system, this approach allows you to do. It allows you to, I guess, get to a point where you can move well and do all the things that you want to do and not be limited by your body. And that's really important for me because for 4 or 5 years between the ages of 14 and 19, I was just limited by my body. I was limited by my capacity to move. And not only does that have an effect on mental health, feelings of frustration, anger, depression, anxiety, etc., it means that it takes you away from doing the things that you want to do, doing the things that you love. So that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I want people no longer to be limited and restricted by their body. I want them to be educated and empowered to start to move, breathe, and stabilize better so they can do all the things that they love to do.